What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Biblical Hitmen. It's your host, Steven. I got Ryan from Appalachian Intelligence in the studio, folks. It's going to be an awesome show. We get into all the weird kind of topics, and his show's awesome as well, so be sure to support him and me. And hey, I mean, if you want to support what I do, make sure you hit that subscribe button over on YouTube. Like the show, share it with your friends, and drop comments down below about the all the things that we get into tonight. I want to hear your opinions, and that's where I can directly engage with the audience. And guess what, folks? We are not just on the video side of things. We're on the audio. If you want to support us there, head on over to Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Wherever you can consume all your podcast content, that is where the show is. And I can only encourage y'all, if you like the show, if you had a good time, you enjoyed what the guests had to say, whatever, just drop a 5-star review. Make sure you hit that follow button, hit that notification bell. And because we're posting episodes like crazy, and hey, I just want to give my appreciation to everyone getting through the ad space. I know it sucks, but that is the number one way to also support the show. But with all that said, Ryan, brother, good to have you on, man. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Steven. Great to be here.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to get into what it is you do. I want you to kind of just tell us a little bit about yourself, tell us a little bit about your show, and where the folks can support you, man.
Yeah, so the show is Appalachian Intelligence. If I say Appalachian again, Justin and Lance, I recorded with them the other night, and they said they will disown me and delete the podcast and stop giving me download. So I can't say Appalachian anymore. But that's
the real Floridian way to say it, all right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. But Appalachian Intelligence, it was just a podcast we started, Justin, Lance, and I think it was 21 or 22. We've been off about a year and a half now, just life and different things. Justin took a pastorship over a church, and he's got a billion kids, and they all do sports, and 2 of the kids are grown, 2 of the kids are little. And Lance, he took a new teaching job, new bus route, new coaching gigs, and he's got 2 little ones, and it was just like we were talking about before, just life in general. And I had planned on taking back off with the podcast before Jesus started working on my heart, and I had all these big plans, I was going to do, and I was going to do this separate podcast with this comedy and all these other things, and then God laughs at our plans. Like I've said before, I'm still a work in progress, which I think we all are, but he's definitely changed the trajectory of this show. But we pretty much, Appalachian Intelligence at gmail.com. Send us your stories if you want to be on the show. We love talking cryptids, paranormal, conspiracy. There's nothing we won't talk about, man.
Yeah. Well, where can they check your show out? What platforms are you on?
So we're every Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on YouTube, but I haven't released any new ones since I started over. So just the 118 episodes that were there. It's pretty much what's on YouTube. So once I'm just trying, because Lance or Justin did all the audio editing, everything like that. So I've been learning this process, getting our intro in there. I still haven't even put the outro on the show yet, but I know how to do it now. So that's step 1. And then the next one, I'm going to work on video and all that and get the YouTube back going. But it's Appalachian Intelligence also on YouTube.
Gotcha. Appalachian, man. It's a place where there's many mysteries, man, when it comes to that whole area, man. And I'm sure you guys have definitely probably covered, enough material to go, yeah, this place is a hot spot. 100%, man. What got you into podcasting, man? I mean, when did all that start for you?
Honestly, it was Justin, because the only podcast I ever listened to were just creepypastas. Like, I'm a big horror fan when it comes to books and short stories. And just to give the fans a little clue in the future, any of my fans that hear this, I am actually, I've jotted down a bunch of ideas for short stories I'm going to write, and then try to put them out there for people, either written or I'm going to try to get them over to where people voice act on them. But I've got a lot of good ideas, a lot of Nephilim ideas I want to throw in there, and a lot of mystery Babylon stories I want to throw in there, you know, going all the way back to Isis to like really what did it was the serpent mounds and all over this country, you know, and they're right here in Appalachia too, just up in West Virginia. I mean, those boys found some up there, Bo Kennedy and them. And yeah, it was crazy because when we were
Yeah.
looking for this treasure, this John Swift silver mine, this I don't know who it was, Justin and Lance do, but the psychic medium got a hold of us out of nowhere and said this old man, this old dude who looked like an old timey miner, like you'd see in the cartoons, digging for gold and big beard and suspenders and all that, is yelling at her in the dream that she has to give these boys these coordinates. This is where they'll start, and it's in Omar, West Virginia, which is a few hours north of here. But when they did the looked up all the LiDAR scans of the area and everything like that, turns out it's an abandoned mine.
Really?
And yes, and it just so happens to tie in at the same time that over in Hellier, they were doing these rituals to summon Pan, and I can't remember which group that was, but then just a little ways on over in Somerset, Kentucky. Now, these are all just a hop, skip, and a jump from here. They were doing the same thing, invoking Pan. I don't know what was going on or what they were thinking. Like, no thanks. You can keep your satyrs. I don't want them running around these hills. But yeah, dude. And it was just Justin. He was talking about that the other night, and he just kind of gave me chills because he thought, dude, what if we had gone thinking we're starting with a cache of treasure and just we were going to? Because he said the one thing I used to do. This is before Jesus was right. I used to do a lot of edibles and things, so I don't remember a lot of what we talked about on most of the podcasts because I was high for every one of them. But he said that I said, dude, what if we're being tricked into like digging these things out or conjuring these things ourselves without meaning to? And he's like, that was immediately when he just paused it. That's when we stopped looking for treasure because it just got too weird.
Right,
But
right. And I think these things, man, they really they exploit and they manipulate our curiosity. And I think, and I've had many people on the show, and this is obviously a debatable topic. I mean, consciousness at itself is a debatable topic. I think it is the life that that's in the blood. I think it's definitely the driver of the vessel that we are. And I think that not all of our thoughts are our own. I think we have at some point we have the ability to consent to thoughts. So if you have a thought, you can agree to it and then now pursue it. And who knows, man, our nature, our fleshful nature is very seduced into curiosity. And who knows, maybe it could have been something where like Nephilim wanted you guys to go and do something and then break them out. And then they're like, oh, these guys thought they were just coming out to have fun. Not really.
yeah, no treasure.
Yeah, right. I got such Goonie vibes, man, from a little bit of that story.
Yeah, dude. If we were only going after that treasure, but
Yeah.
yeah, that it got really, really weird. Like the Pan Lilith connection, everything like that. We kept looking into. Like, I don't even dive down that stuff anymore because, like I said, I'm kind of new to this thing, and I don't want spiritually. I want to go into everything we do with an open mind, but definitely a guarded heart. You know, keep that up. But like you were saying earlier, a consciousness to me, and this is just my thoughts and my ramblings while I'm welding all day at work and nothing else to do but talk in my own head. But like, you know, they say like, so space, matter, and time, those things have to work together, right? And there can't be one without the other. But is the consciousness the R of those things? You know, when is it? Where is it? But what is it? You know, I mean, and you could say, oh, that's a chair. Yeah, that's matter. But this is just a vessel, dude. I think consciousness is almost a whole other dimension. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
this is where do we draw because there's nothing new under the sun according to the Bible. Where do we draw ideas from? Like how did we come up with the car? How did we come up with steam engines? Where do we get these things? Is it just a collective consciousness and this guy happened to pick it out of it, or more open to it?
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, what I think too, man, is that there's a metaphysical realm we can't see that is a part of our reality. And I think a lot of these things assist our imagination as people. Like I guess what I'm saying is, if someone creates a steam engine, or if someone creates an F-35 Raptor engine, right, which is like, I think just straight up fallen angel tech or some sort. It's gotta be, man. Well, there's something that is assisting our realm into creating the imagination to be able to think and then create those things. I just don't think it's something that we can sit down and come up with these thoughts. Now, scientists, they think a little differently, and they're raised up in education, and they know more, so their thoughts can imagine different things. But it always makes me think of the Nimrod story in the Bible, where anything that man was thinking of or was imagining to do, they were going to be able to do it because I think they had the tower. They had the Tower of Babel. They had Nimrod, which I think was just this super Nephilim magi of some sort. Who knows? He became a Gibberim. So there's a lot of speculation with that story there. But something was going on, man, to where they were able to exploit the metaphysical realm to manipulate the physical realm. It's almost like this. Again, I say this a bunch of times, but it's like when Pharaoh and his magi's, they casted their staffs down and it turned into snakes, just like Moses.
There's exactly what I was just thinking of. As you said,
some crazy stuff.
They're drawing that the miracle wasn't that his staff turned into a serpent; it's that his serpent ate all the other serpents. So,
amen.
Because it was, what was drawing that? And that's what I was talking about when the other night with Justin and Lance. Like, I never used to believe in magic until, the Bible's like, no, there's stuff out there. I didn't believe in ghosts until Jesus comes back from the dead and he's like, hey, don't be afraid. I'm not a ghost. Like, why did he say that? Like, why did you say you're not a ghost if ghosts don't exist? Just things like that. And I've always had the questions of, in the 10 Commandments, thou will put no other gods before me. And I've heard it explained, when you watch football on Sunday instead of going to church. And I get the idol worship, but I honestly believe people were, in that time, people were worshiping other gods. Like, how many times did the Israelites alone, just wandering through the desert in 40 years, how many different gods did they come up with? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The days of Noah, man, were a trip. I think it's hard for us to come to certain conclusions of what it was like back in those days. I think those days were wild, man. Who knows? Maybe there was gods, maybe there was we know there were sons of God. We know there were Nephilim, but what was it kind of really like? What was the society like with all of this?
And see, Justin, he taught, I'm going to butcher this, but it just blew my mind the other night. But he was talking about Paul, and I can't remember who was with him, in Philippians, but they were in Philippi. And if you remember in that book, this woman kept following them around. These are men of renown. These are godly men, all this. And eventually Paul's like, get out of here, devil. Well, come to find out, apparently Apollyon or Apollo, he went and he grabbed something to where he went against the Elohim of the time that he was around to give that knowledge to people. So she was afflicted. Like, it's tying Greek mythology, the Bible is right there for that area specifically, Philippi. and she's walking around. He tells her, "Get out of here, devil." But she gained that through which, Apollo, Apollyon, we consider probably Satan, Saturn, whatever. They're all the same ones. And it almost slipped my mind, Stephen, when you were talking about Nimrod earlier. Do you believe that Nimrod and Gilgamesh were the same person?
I personally do. And obviously there's some people that don't agree to that. Justin Doc Brown, he's a buddy of mine. He's written about this in one of his books, in Epic of Esau, but talking about the connections between, Nimrod and the epic of Gilgamesh, and the stories out of Jasher pertaining to Nimrod, and the story out of obviously the epic of Gilgamesh. They are parallel with a lot of the things that are side by side. I think that Nimrod could have been, yes, Gilgamesh. I think with him holding a lion with one arm, kind of like putting it in a headlock, which is like kind of insane, by the way.
Yeah.
And he's like 3-4 times the size of a lion. It makes me think of when Nimrod is called a mighty hunter, right? It seems like Nimrod was this man that no one who can make war with this man.
Yeah.
Who can wage war against him? And I think Nimrod was a typology of what the Antichrist will be. And I say that because he was a world ruler, and I think the Antichrist in the future will share a lot of similarities with all that.
So how do you feel about the invasion of Iraq in 2001 and them going after Gilgamesh's tomb under the Euphrates that was dried up at the time? We were told, we were hit by Taliban in Afghanistan and we invaded Iraq. So it's kind of weird, right? And it was said, locals there did say the military showed up, tents went up, vans left. We never got back in there again.
It's a wild story.
So when they say weapons of mass destruction, just because we didn't find nukes,
right?
They're very adamant in telling us there were weapons of mass destruction there. They never said what kind. They just said weapons of mass destruction. So that right there, in and of itself, is another one. Like, what is our government into? And now with all this, what do you think about the theory that under the ballroom they're building this data center?
Oh, you got to tell me about that. What do you mean by ballroom? Where are we at with this?
The White House, Trump's ballroom is costing $3,300 and something a square foot. Now, if you look up building a high-end hotel, the highest it costs is like $1,800-$1,900 something a square foot. Now, Larry Ellison, Oracle, Silicon Valley, largest donator to APAC here in the States, built a data center under Jerusalem for around the same amount of money. See, Larry, he's kind of genius because he's going to have all these. He's got, if it is a data center under the White House, he's already got the one in Jerusalem, massive data center. If he gets the one, because Silicon Valley's putting all the money up for this ballroom. So Meta, Apple, Oracle, Palantir, all those guys are paying for this ballroom. To me, that says they want part of that data center. Like, why are these guys in particular? But if Larry Ellison, even though he's not in AI whatsoever, developing AI that I know of, I mean, he's got Oracle. But when all these other people develop these much better AIs, what data centers are they going to use? He already owns it.
Wow.
So it's things like that. Like, I cannot. They've had our head on a swivel lately, if you've noticed, out there, like, ever since October 10th, and everybody knows what happened then. But ever since then, it's like, I don't know if you're a fan of Sam Tripoli or not, but he's like these conspiracies never, or what is it they say? What are those called? Those distractions they try to do. It's
Psyops, man.
psyops. Never take a day off. That's exactly what he says all the time. And like, I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, I'm not going to have an opinion until I can absolutely see everything that's going to be put out there, because I believe there's a lot of things it feels like they're wanting us to do while they're saying they don't want us to do it. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. I think the psyops are made for other psyops. It's nothing more than misdirection to confuse you, to steer you down a certain road, to take you completely off track of the road they want you to be away from. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think the whole author of that, the fruit that bears is from Satan himself.
Oh yeah.
He's the one orchestrating all of that musical tone. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's just, it's like I was talking about the other day, when you need your country to get behind you on what you're wanting to do, you have to have a major event. We had one September 11th, 2001, and the whole country, I've never seen this country more united and more people sign up for military service at one time since what? The World War II, maybe. And then September 10th happens, and while praise God for all the people that are picking up Bibles that have never done it or haven't done it in a long time or anything like that. Praise God for all the souls coming over to Jesus, but is it an event they want us to get us set up for? Because I don't know about anybody else, but like, I'm trying to fix my X algorithm all the time. I try to get like Jesus stuff, wholesome videos, and the occasional Sam Tripoli crazy thing on there, but or maybe the Nephilim Death Squad guys. But dude, all I see is these Islamic terror cells, and Islam is taking over here. And then what do? If you're the government and you're wanting this, first you take over cities like Dearborn, Michigan, and Minneapolis, Minnesota, where they're actually calling to prayer several times a day for Muslims and Islam. And then New York City, in a landslide, you killed your grandparents, Cuomo, against
Yeah.
Zoran Mamdani, and this poor guy I've never even seen. He just looks like he used to take tickets at the subway or something. Like Curtis Slilwell, whatever his name is, and you could tell right from the start, like he was probably the better candidate, but he never stood a chance. He just felt that vibe. You know what I mean? Like, since I seen who was running in that city, I was like, well, nobody else stands a chance, And then, in the moment I seen him asking Curtis Slilwell to step aside so Cuomo can beat Mamdani, I was like, nah, that's who they want in there, this Mamdani. So what do? You cause a major event, get people all up in their feelings and everything, and then maybe you set loose a few terror cells. That leads to martial law, that leads to all kinds of things. This country cannot enter into a civil war. That'll be over.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, it seems like politically there hasn't been this much chaos in a very long time. I've never really been a political person, man. I don't think anyone really has, at least people that I've kind of talked to on the show or whatever, but it seems like they want to draw people into the political perspective. And when you get drawn into the political perspective, now you're ignorant to being at war with another team. So in a way, it's whatever, red versus blue, north versus south, whatever you want to call it, dude. There is a game going on. There's an opponent, and now you're not united as a country. You're not your morals are all everything's all thrown to whack. Now, obviously, I mean, I advocate for conservative morals. I think these things are just biblical in nature. But I also think that the devil is in all of it. I think with the whole psyop that was going on, especially with the Kirk event, man, there was this movement towards Christianity, which again, I'm not saying is a bad thing. But when you have these baby Christians coming into uh, to a house of believers, okay, well, who's running that house of believers? But the whole movement behind Kirk and Erica and Trump and the Seven Mountain Mandate, the New Apostolic Reformation, and that church, that is a church that preaches things on ecumenicism. It preaches things on uniting everyone back together. They want to be peaceful with all religions and all this kind of stuff. But that shows me the nature of what's behind that. I'm not saying these people aren't saved, but what I'm saying is they're confused because God divides, Satan unites. And that's one thing you've got to kind of understand, that that's a deception, that's a psyop in itself, because things sound so good. They sound so sensual, they sound seducing, they sound like love, man. And I get that. It sounds good, but that's when he's in the details. That's when he's doing things to catch you looking this way instead of going, "Oh, okay, I see why they want this to happen. Maybe this is a spearhead of Mystery Babylon." I don't know. It's very wild stuff, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, well,
That's
it's
what the
it
psyop looks like.
that's what the
Okay,
psyop
that's
looks
what the
like. It's
psyop looks like, at least.
like, holy crap, what is going on? But, and there's a lot of, and I believe it's going right in line with the claims of all the anti-Semitism, too. Like, I think that's one of those things where they're saying, oh, how bad it is, and at the same time, they just keep pushing on your timeline all these different things and putting all these different people in the public eye in ways where you're like, nobody acts like this. That Rabbi Shmuley, my gosh, I call him Rabbi Schmuck, because what a evil person you have to be to say some of the things you do. You know what I mean? And as far as politicians go, it's left wing, right wing, same bird. Just go back and watch the Jimmy Carter funeral. When Trump goes to every person sitting there, they laugh and cut up. He sits with Obama for a long time. They laugh and cut up. I mean, it's
It's a
all pro
show, man.
wrestling, dude. It's
It's a
professional
show,
wrestling. Yeah.
bro.
And
It's
they're
wild.
very good.
No, they're artists, man.
Yes.
They're artists. And when it comes to being behind a camera, like, I totally understand putting on an act, but these guys are doing it in a way to where they enjoy fooling the people in a mass amount of numbers. It's worse than just whatever the news anchor that may just be reading off of a teleprompter, but he knows these aren't his own thoughts. He's actually just reading the news. Uh, but these people are articulate with what they're doing. They are very smart with their strategies, and I think that these strategies are coming from bloodlines that are higher than them, a hierarchy system that supersedes their power, that has ultimate authority over them. And I think that when you're in politics and you get into these positions, number one, you didn't just get there on your own. There's a way to get into these chairs. This isn't musical chairs where you just kind of the music stops and you're able to sit in faster than the other guy. It's like, no, that seat was designated for that person. And that's how I think I see it working, man. Dude, I wanted to wrap back. You mentioned something. I'm so glad you mentioned this, man. I hate to kind of steer us back around to what we were getting into before, but I didn't want to lose the thought. Gilgamesh, the tomb of Gilgamesh, dude. So this is something that we know was present. It was something, it was active, right? We're talking about emails from Hillary Clinton. This is definitely could be the reasoning why we started a war with, taking over a lot of countries from 2000, whatever it was, one or two to as of recently when we made the exile out of there. But let's get into that, man. What do you think they're doing? And do you know?
I think it's like you said, the bloodlines that actually run things. That this is probably bloodlines from a Gilgamesh, from Nephilim, and things like that. I had a thought a long time ago. I told Justin Lance, I'm like, dude, what if all these railroad companies, mining companies, and all that were just started by these Nephilim bloodlines trying to free these the original fallens? And what if they're like, where are they at though? Like, are we digging in all these because coal is actually worth that, or are we just digging in all these mountains looking for something? Because at 2,000 feet, you're not going to find very many fossils, right? Because that's one of the mines I was in. It was 2,600 feet, but there were still like tree fossils in it right on the bottom. As soon as you got off the cage, you could look up and follow them around. So I don't know, dude.
I almost think I think they put this in movies. I can't remember the movie exactly, but since I can't remember it, I won't even bring it up. But I think they're going and trying to it's almost like the Mummy movies, right?
Yeah.
Especially the one with Tom Cruise. They came across a certain area that they just kind of rolled up upon, but as they were archaeologists being there, then all of a sudden, when they accidentally opened up this tomb, they fell in, they saw what was going on. I mean, the military was there in a second,
In a
right?
second. Yeah.
Exactly. And I even think in that movie, Dr. Jekyll was the bad guy, but that's because he's an artifact hunter. He's actually looking for the Philosopher's Stone, in my opinion, which is to give him eternal life and to help him with the curse that he has of changing in and out of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But he's trying to find this elixir of life. It's almost like when you get into what it is he was doing, it's similar to what the Vril Society was trying to do, right? It's similar to the Indiana Jones movies when the Germans were searching for the Holy Grail and trying to take this energy out of these artifacts, so that they can pull the energy out of it through alchemy or whatever it is, and to make material matter out of that energy and then drink it, and then all of a sudden they've got eternal life. I think there's a connection with Gilgamesh, the tomb of Gilgamesh, the idea of them trying to retrieve some sort of DNA, trying to retrieve some sort of biologics in any way that they can to scientifically deconstruct it, to reproduce it, and to possibly create what I think would be the image of the beast. This, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, like think of the Avengers movie when Ultron was trying to create a body so he can get inside of it, so he can inhabit it as an Okatarian, which kind of Gary Wayne likes to talk about. It's a vessel that these spirits want to inhabit, but it's similar to like demon possession, man. These Nephilim spirits, they like to possess people because they crave a vessel. Well, I think the Antichrist, after he, suffers from a fatal head wound, is going to want to uh inhabit a vessel. And I think that that's what I see in Revelation 13 when the false prophet gives life unto the image of the beast. And now this image is able to both speak and do wonders and all this kind of stuff. Maybe the DNA, the things they're trying to retrieve from it, is helping them build this image, this body. I don't know what it's to look like, but I'm speculating like crazy.
Oh man.
I
was sitting there thinking of the half beast, half man off of that Perseus, and the king that It was actually his
Yes.
stepdad, you know, but the
Yes.
gods cursed him because of that, and he was like super strong, half beast and everything, and then
Yes.
tells him don't trust those gods.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, dude. Dude, that movie's sick, bro.
Oh
And
yeah.
what is it? It's something Titans, right? Clash of the
Yes,
Titans.
Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans, man.
Yeah, that was I was thinking of that beast looking guy. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think. That's what I think maybe that they're involved in. Uh I mean, there's even Kandahar giants that supposedly military team had an interaction with this giant.
Apparently
Um,
took a soldier out, right? And then they lit his head up, aim for the head, they said.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
nuts.
Could you imagine that? Jeez, man. It's like the
And then
Lovelock Caves, man.
yeah, right out in Utah, right? So that's exactly what I was getting ready to say. And those were redheaded, supposedly redheaded giants also. And what I can't remember what tribe they were battling with, but they basically barricaded them in and set it on fire, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how much would you love to find that cave and go
Yeah,
see if there's bones?
yeah, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the Vatican's probably swooped in there, taken
Oh
everything. You know.
gosh. If it's not there, it's over in DC under the Smithsonian. But
Yeah.
apparently, I'd heard something a while back. They're supposed to declassify everything in the Smithsonian. Trump had said something about that. We'll see where that goes. It was like in passing, and I thought, never, no way. They made lakes in this country to cover up just Egyptian tombs, like right down here in Tennessee. Like I don't know. Tim's pretty big into that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's talked to you about that, but a long time ago, that apparently right down here, Gray, Tennessee, I can't remember, but there was they found these Egyptian like tombs and stuff, and then all of a sudden that's where they put the lake. So
What?
yeah,
Oh, they're burying it with water.
oh, yeah, Tennessee is. It's got a lot of Egyptian and Greek. I mean, the Parthenon's right there in Memphis. The the Parthenon. But if you think about that, in Philly, right at the top of the stairs where Rocky runs up, that's an actual art museum or a museum. And right as soon as you go in, there's the divine feminine Diana. This is all over America. Why do we have these pagan statues, these fallen angel watcher, statues around America? Like, what is the point of these? Why do we have all these obelisks everywhere in DC? Why is it laid out? They say the street pattern is a wheel and spoke pattern, but it's a 5-sided star. Either way you look at it, even if they say wheel and spoke pattern, it's a 5-sided star. And then you got what, 50 of those on the American flag with people pledging allegiance to them every day. The 5-sided star is pretty crazy. We didn't get into that. People are like, what is he talking about?
It is, bro. It's I mean, hey, the 6-pointed star is even crazier. What? No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these, I think why they do this is because they're showing you who they worship, but not only who they worship, but they're honestly trying to show you who's boss, who's running the world. I mean, the Bible says everywhere, right, that the world lieth in wickedness.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the majority of the world has spirit of Antichrist all over it. And I think that this is to progress this mystery religion. I think the mystery religions changed labels throughout time. It's still the author's the same, the fruit is the same, and it's compartmentalized in different cultures. Very similar to how the pantheon of gods is compartmentalized in different cultures, but they all parallel. They're the same, right?
Yeah.
Roman gods, Greek, Sumerian, Babylonian, Canaanite. We can go on and on. They're the same gods, I see that the same way with mystery religion, and I think the one way to really track it and to trace it and to stay on its behind, if that makes any sense, is the divine feminine, man. I
Yeah.
think the divine feminine is what drove Babylon after the death of Nimrod.
Right.
And I think that even they may have looked at Semiramis, which is the wife of Nimrod, right? Allegedly. Uh, but they looked at her, they venerated her to be almost maybe even more powerful than Nimrod because she was able to bring the life of the reincarnation of Nimrod into the world. You know what I'm saying? And this is nothing against Catholics. I think Catholic people are good people. I just think the system is corrupted, and that's nothing against the Catholic. I'm
No.
saying the system is corrupted. Okay, you got a worship hall that's in the shape of a serpent head. You got to be kidding me. All right, but um, and a dome and an obelisk right there in Vatican City. So
Right
you can
there.
see that they're worshiping uh, the mother. They're worshiping the mother because the mother carries the reincarnation of who was worshipped as God, which is, to the Catholics, it's Jesus. But it's Tammuz, it's Nimrod, it's the same cycle, and you can see it throughout, man. It's like that all the way throughout. Um,
Who did Isis give birth to after
um,
she fixed up a golden phallus for
yeah.
Osiris? Because what was his name? Tigan or something like that?
Hmm.
The other god. But apparently Osiris was this big bad god, but this other god was like just beating him up on the regular and then cut him up into pieces and threw him into the sea, except for that one specific part. But apparently, was it Ishtar?
I don't know. I have to look this one up.
But that would go, I mean, that's the very start of the mystery Babylon, right? Isis,
Yeah, that's
Osiris.
the Egyptian basically worship of yeah, that whole
Yeah.
system, man. And that system's it's everywhere, man.
Yeah.
It's the
Just
false
that
trinity.
I'm just saying if the fallen ones, the watchers, they had to know the story that was coming. And just like the Bible gives you all these innuendos into Jesus coming, like a lot of people mistake the Bible saying that if you bless Israel, you'll be blessed, and if you curse, but God was speaking directly to Abraham and said, your seed, not seeds, seed. If they bless your seed, they will be blessed. And if they curse your seed, they will be cursed. Well, the direct lineage down to Jesus is from Abraham, his seed. That's what I think that was about. But I digress. But it's what were we talking about? I got too far off, Stephen.
No. Well, you made a great point, bro, because the fallen angels, they it's better for them to corrupt and to blend themselves in with God's narrative rather than come up and create something that's completely totally different.
Yeah.
That's how they kind of are able to slide through the cracks and to deceive people into their ideology and to, be undetected, man.
Yeah. I mean, even the pagan mythology, they all have all these gods. They have children. Some of them die. Odin even goes, or Odin's wife, I can't remember her name, even goes into hell to get her favorite son back because she had gone out into the world and made and out into the different realms and took everything there was and made him invincible to it except for a holly tree. And then Loki, that shifty guy, he took the blind god brother and was like, here, you want to join in? I'll aim it for you and you throw. Well, he tied mistletoe to the end of that spear and it killed him. His name started with a B. But that
Mm.
was part of when Odin goes down, plucks out one of his eyes for more wisdom and all that. But his wife went down just to bring that dude back. And it's alleged that's who became Santa Claus. But so
Oh wow.
but yeah, so the mistletoe, that kind of ties that in right there. That's how he became Santa Claus. But you just think about all those different stories. These angels, they know the fallen ones, the watchers, they know the story. They know about Jesus. So why wouldn't all of theirs have the same sort of storylines to go along with it? They're not creators of anything. They can only disrupt and corrupt. They can't create. So they use the same storylines as God because they can't create their own. And they can't create humans and people. They can only corrupt the bloodline as they did.
Mm-hmm.
And which, as in the days of Noah, my friend, it seems like we're doing that again. We're bringing back the dire wolf. We'll have a woolly mammoth by 2026. And now they can treat, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I don't understand it quite yet, but now they can take your DNA, your specific DNA, and like cure your cancer that way now and all this other stuff. They're starting to find more cures for everything, which is great. Again, don't get me wrong. I don't want people to get sick and die. I'm just saying, like, where is this? What is this coming from, and what are they doing?
Right. And what's the catch?
Exactly. What's the catch? Now, I don't know if you can tell in my hat, but I am super bald. But I am praying to God this B157, whatever it is, in clinical trials right now, that has 0 side effects and is absolutely growing hair back. Bro, I'm not a vain person, but if I can grow hair back, I'm going to do it. I know it's not going to help this face, but I would love to have hair back.
It's just like 20-year-old hair, it's just straight up thick, dude. No grays. That'd be great, man. I got to keep it short, man, on the sides, and which it's almost time for a haircut. And the people know I get like that little skin fade, man, because I'm super gray on the side, man. I'm almost 35, and I've already got 3/4 of my head is gray. That's wrong.
Yeah,
there's nothing right to that situation.
I talk to God all the time because everything on the side of my head turns gray. It's like, God, that's all I got left. This is what you're going to do right now, like, because I'm only 42, so
yeah.
But it's I've been going bald since high school. But if that stuff works, I'm going to try it. But I'm very iffy about everything else.
I know. My radar is on high alert, man, when it comes to anything else that they're trying to put in the body. I think that there is there's good things that come out of sorcery, pharmakia. There are good things, but then there's a catch, man. There's a catch. It's almost like and there's so many things we've been talking about that really show a lot of similarities to the fruit, right? The fruit that the serpent deceived um, and gave to Eve, and it could be many different things, right? I think there's a lot of things that wrap around that concept. It could be a sexual thing. It could be it could just be a fruit, but it could also be a generalized concept with all those three things that are all kind of played into one idea. But Satan was like, surely you won't die, because the woman was like, I'm gonna die. But did she really die? She didn't die immediately, right? But what she was reiterating back to the serpent is like, no, I'm gonna die if I eat this. But so that's how he gets you, that's how the deception is really provided on a basically an hors d'oeuvre plate to us. Is no, this ain't gonna kill you, but there's something behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It was the same argument. Satan still uses the same argument today. And what's bad is we know the story, and some of us still fall for it, like shrooms. You know, I told you I've never done anything like any kind of actual like man-made drug. I've only ever
You're
dabbled
just
in
an agrarian.
THC. I'm just an I'm a what do you call it? I'm a vegan. That's just plants.
Okay.
So it's just THC and mushrooms. But you know what the thing is, they sit there and they talk, you know, they're not addictive. True. Okay. And they're going to open up your mind, dude. Like, you're never going to have this experience without them. I'm like, oh, okay. Now that I'm on the other side of that, I'm starting to see, like, wow, I totally fell for it, just like Eve. Like, I've complained my whole life, like, Adam and Eve, why did you eat the fruit, you know? but,
Right.
but now, you know, we can see what, and just like God will not, he can't interfere with our free will, otherwise it wouldn't be free will. It goes the same at the old saying, the devil made me do it. I'm like, no, that's just, he might have put that there. He might have put your mind in a place, but when you make that decision, you know, that's all
Yeah.
on you, homie. So
Right. Right. I mean, and it's kind of like, you know, when you're bringing up just those concepts, and you know, some of those things are used for medicinal purposes. Some of them are even used to try and heal up people that are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, on a micro level, of course, but I think that's where the bait brings you in, and then you end up doing things that submit you to the will of these entities. And I say that because um I think they want us to do things on a level of pharmakia that opens up doorways that you can't see you just opened, but they want you to open up these doorways, and maybe they can mingle themselves into maybe seducing more of your thoughts, getting you to do things that you know you shouldn't do, but you still do it. I think a lot of it wraps up into maybe getting you into back in the rut of a sinful life. Maybe you just broke out of it, but you were kind of, you know, lured into it. And we can put up the armor all day. We could be like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But then, you know, you end up doing this, and then you end up going, oh man, how did I get here?
yeah,
And I've been guilty of that too in the past, man. And you know, it's just life in general is like that, man. And I think it's even the little things, it's the harmless things that I think they like to wrap you up in, so that, you know, you do things that dishonor and um are just against God's will, if that makes any sense.
yeah. Yeah, that makes complete sense. And, you know, Tripoli says it all the time. We're not meant to see this many naked people, you know, this much stuff. That's now it's hard to even like scroll through Instagram or anything like that, or Facebook even. These little advertisements pop up on the bottom of my phone. I was showing my wife the other day, it had nothing to do with Facebook. It was like an advertisement that popped up, straight pornography. And then I like
Jeez.
playing this little game. It's just a mind-numbingly dumb game that you don't have to think about anything. It's just a break, you know, that I like whenever I'm relaxing. I'll sit there and play on my phone. And it's just a word game. There's scrambled letters, and you got to make words out of it. Well, the advertisement came up the other day, and it's for these AI girlfriends. They're completely naked. And then the second one was about these dating apps, or not even a dating app, like just a get to know people app in your local area. But all the girls were taking off their clothes, and these were real people. And this was an advertisement. An advertisement.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sitting here like, Lord, you know, you see me in private. I don't look up this crap, but it's just like every which way they can, they'll try to get you. Because a long time ago, I had a really bad problem with that. Like, it almost cost me my marriage and everything. So that was one of those things where I was like, well, it's not worth my family. You know, I got 3 kids, I got a wife, and I just got to grow up. So that's one of those things where you're like, something you haven't even dealt with in forever or even thought about because it's not a thing anymore. Like out of the blue, just trying to get back in. So that's why I say open mind and guarded heart, dude. That's the only way to go about it.
Right. Dude, I saw something the other day, man, and it was again, it's things that pop up on your social media like you were saying, and that's kind of out of our control. And I think what's a part of these algorithms and what's a part of these sponsors or advertisements or whatever it is, it's to get you to fall into sin in some sort of way. And you could be like, man, you know, cuz as men, you know, we struggle with certain things, and women struggle with you know, things that are a little different. But as men, you know, especially having wives and all this kind of stuff, like we're trying to guard ourselves from a lot of the lust that's out there. But it seems like when you start to guard yourself even more, that's when the enemy tries to throw more things out at you. And I saw something the other day, and it seems to be right after I usually have a thought to where I talk to myself, where I'm like, you know, hey, I could just maybe see a girl on or something pop up, which is like in my mind, I'm like, why are you like living this way? But anyways, you know, they're doing this, and then I'm like, scroll, and I'm like, you know, I see my wife in the back screen of my phone, and I'm like, that's my wife. Like, I don't need to be looking at any of that stuff, which I'm
Yeah.
not, but it's just comes across the screen nowadays. Um, and as soon as I'll have these thoughts, man, all of a sudden just the algorithm starts feeding me like even more, and it wants to pull you in. And then at that point, I'm just like, okay, let me just go to YouTube because YouTube's way better than like Instagram or these short reels.
Dude,
You know,
Instagram's getting crazy too. Like,
it's
just
becoming immoral.
rolling through. And now that Threads app, I got that because I thought, oh, everybody's getting Threads. And
That thing's the
then,
worst.
dude, my
That's the
God, that's all
worst.
it is. That was the whole, like the main feed. And what really made me mad was I have 2 daughters. And, one of them's 17. She's going to be 18. The other one's 15. And there are little kids on Instagram and Threads. Now, while they may not be naked, like most of them might as well be, and I don't understand how that's even okay. Like, I didn't even think, I thought you were supposed to be a certain age before you even had these accounts. Like, even TikTok, you got to be, 16 or something like that? Or you're supposed to be.
That's crazy.
And Instagram's just letting it, because that's meta. I mean, that's what's happening. Like, Joe Rogan needs to have Mark Zuckerberg back on and be like, hey, what the crap is going on here, dude?
Yeah,
And see how he explains that one. But it's just all these things, man. And it just seems like that in particular has really become something that's getting out of hand. Trafficking of children, things like that. Or maybe it's just because we didn't know about it before, and now that it's been pointed out, we're like, oh my God, there's so much of it.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
It's bad, man. And you know
Yeah.
what? They're with artificial intelligence, man. You're able now to create what's called an AI influencer. And I saw this on an ad, and it was the AI telling me it. And it was in the imitation of a woman. It was not a real woman, it was a fake woman, but you can obviously see that this woman was like a model influencer, right? And she's like, if you want to make money, you can create an AI influencer that looks like me. So it's like now humanity's getting to a point to where men like us, for example, can create fake women on social media and sell them over to people like OnlyFans. But they're AI, they're not real women, but you're selling it over and because the AI runs the conversations, the AI entertains these people for a subscription. That's crazy.
Good Lord.
It's bad.
I mean, I've been on X for the last, I think, 6 months now, just hounding Elon Musk about his AI girlfriends. And he's pushing it hard over there. I'm like, Elon, you yourself go on Joe Rogan all the time talking about the world population is down and we need to be having more babies. It's like, how do you think this is going to help? Like when you've got all these kids, this generation that did come up through COVID and lockdowns and used to being separated, like a lot of these guys, why in the world would they want a real girlfriend that's going to want them to do anything other than play their games and hang with their friends and never nag at them, or always nag at them, compared to Elon's AI girlfriend that's always in your pocket? Like, you don't have to talk to her unless you want to. And then, you can do whatever you want. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's nuts to me.
Oh,
Why
well, you just said
AI
it. You just said it.
girlfriends?
You just said it. You could do whatever you want.
Exactly.
That shall be the whole of the law. Do what thou wilt,
Do what thou
brother.
wilt.
I shoot
Gosh.
that down in Jesus' name.
Yes.
Firing squad that thing. But I think what really Elon's trying to do is he's a dualitist. I think he is someone who's really good at saying one thing, his actions are another. He's a double-minded man. He's influenced by many other different spirits, in my opinion. If anything, I think he's contributing, aiding, guiding the path of the false prophet, maybe the path of the Antichrist, or this future God that these pagans and the Gnostics want to bring into the world. But I think too, man, that what he's trying to build is something very similar to iRobot with Will Smith. You had all these robots that were in homes that were acting as jinn or daemonions, to people, because really the old articulated way of what jinn would do to people is the all-knowing spirit. It'd help you. Even there's Greek philosophers that had jinns, and it helped them get out of certain situations. It helped give them knowledge for certain things that they had on their mind to do. It helped give them the imagination to do these things. So I can see it in that way, to where he wants to put robots in every home. Maybe the robots at some point will get out onto the streets, take the positions of police. I think the schism of culture with police and society today is already broken, and at some point it could be to how the government just takes over all municipalities, and this is now the law enforcement that we're going to put in. It's almost like the movie RoboCop. Remember?
Oh yeah.
The guy owned all the AI robots, and he's like, my robots are better than any human. But that's why they wanted to merge, human with robot, which that's kind of an antichrist typology there, possibly too. Golly, they throw it in everything.
Everything. and you have to, and just think about it this way: every piece of technology they have, when we get it, how long have they had it for? How long has the government had it? Like cell phones, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how long have they had this technology? Now we're getting these little robots, robot vacuum cleaners, now these little dog-shaped robots, and that's being released out to us, but what did they actually have? And why would there be, since, I would say, 2004, 2008, it's been really ramped up against defund the police, do all this. If
Right.
you remember, and I'm not saying it's any one president's fault, anything like that. I'm just saying that was the time frame, that you really started hearing about this. And just about the time right before we get into all the transhumanist stuff, we're going through the transgender stage right now, and that seems like that's it's still pretty prevalent, but it seems like now it's being pushed back against. They'll lift these certain people up and then just to tear them down. It's
Mhm.
that, how they do. It's the
Oh, yeah.
exact same game plan every time. So now we're getting away from that. So maybe the transhumanist thing's next, because all I hear about are these brain chips and all
Oh,
these
yeah.
things. And like you said, Elon will make it to where he's like, yeah, we're doing it because, somebody like paraplegic or whatever, they're going to be able to control all this stuff, their chair, which is awesome. You know, I'm not saying I don't want those things for people. I just want to know what is the price that comes with this. You know, like we've been going through all these plane crashes, everything like that.
Oh, I know, dude.
I'm starting to believe Sam Tripoli when he says if they want you living in these 15-minute cities, why would they want you flying around? You know?
Right. Right. Or
So,
this could also try and leverage the idea of artificial intelligence being now a part of transportation.
yeah, no
Um,
error. But
right.
who
Right.
designs those things? They have to have a biases of the person that designs them, right? Like,
It's got to be a programmer.
there's got to be a programmer, and
Who updates this dang thing?
like,
You
when
know?
these robot police are arresting people,
Yeah.
I hope the programmer didn't like dislike bald guys or something. You
Right.
know,
Or
that's
what about a hacker? A hacker comes in, has a bad day.
oh my
Bad
god.
day. Comes in, goes, yeah, I'm going to turn all these robots on their owners. Watch
Yeah.
this.
Oh
I
my
had a
god.
bad day. Someone threw milk on me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
Well, it seems like I think these vessels that we're creating as man, it seems like we're creating life with our own hands. And we know that our God created us with his hands. You know, he articulated the image of what we were to look like, and it reflected him, and he gave life unto us. Well, what is the life that's going to be given to some of these things? I understand a program is a program. Um, a microchip, motherboard, CPU, whatever it is, all that stuff is pretty. It's all programmable, but when it gets to a point that AI is no longer a program, and it's almost like a flower that has blossomed and it can't go back to its original state of growth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's reached uh, it's just reached its highest capacity of consciousness, if that's what you want to
The
maybe think
zenith.
of. Like, are we creating vessels for Nephilim spirits to inhabit?
Dude.
You know what I'm
I've said
saying?
that about robots too, dude. Like, I mean, it seems to be they're like again, Tripoli says all the time, a hardwiring mysticism. Like you were talking about, you think about certain things and then advertisements show up on your phone. Like it might have been a Kenmore dishwasher or something, you know,
Mhm.
and then you go on and because I said that, how much you want to bet on my phone later on? I get on Facebook or Instagram. There's going to be an advertisement for one of those objects. You know, it's
Yeah, bro.
it is it's crazy.
Yeah, it is, man. And again, like from that movie I Robot, because I swear, dude, they say things in movies, or at least they can kind of illustrate it to be a little right of what's going to happen in the future. But I don't know. Even Elon, remember when he threw like that party where he was displaying his new robots, and the robots were serving drinks to the people and getting, walking around with hors d'oeuvres and stuff. And he's just walking around like Tony Stark or something. But he imitated a lot of the art and the design of his invention based off of iRobot. Now that's kind of like, I think that's my speculation of it, but when you put the frames of pictures side by side, you can't go, yeah, that looks literally like iRobot. It looks like the movie. He even had like a bus that would carry these things, and in iRobot there was a bus that carried these things. But in the movie, dude, when they're in their normal function, their normal state, they're like blue, right? They're blue,
Yep.
a very light blue light in their chest, and then when they go rogue, it's red, dude.
Yeah. They're mad.
And guess what? There's an AI mother that runs them, and it's a woman. It's a
Yeah.
woman. There's just like a divine feminine in that aspect as well, man.
Exactly. And it's in everything. I mean, do you ever watch 2001 Space Odyssey?
I have. I've watched bits and pieces of it. I haven't got through the whole thing.
Yeah, that's like that's one of Kubrick's. Was it? It was Kubrick, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's one of like Bill Cooper says everything in that is symbolic of Mystery Babylon.
Wow.
Like he said, even when you're coming into the first scene and you got the sunset, he said, look at the image. It's the boat of Isis.
Oh, wow. Yes,
Like, oh
dude.
my gosh.
Yes.
Like that guy right there, he is. I don't know if you've ever listened to his old radio show or not,
Well,
but it's on Spotify.
I was gonna buy the book. Oh, is it really on Spotify?
It's
Because
on Spotify.
there's a book printout of his whole Mystery Babylon broadcasts.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to get that and
You
listen
can
to it.
listen to every one of them on Spotify.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I'm not
Okay.
discouraging the book because now that you said that, I'll probably buy the same one. But yeah, you can listen to everyone. Like I was listening to it a lot coming into this recording with you because you mentioned Mystery Babylon. I'm like, all right, I am not familiar very much with this, so I'm going to do my due diligence. And you just can't listen to Bill Cooper straight for hours and hours and hours every day. He will, he'll make your ears bleed because it's so much all at once, you know. But so the book is probably going to be a lot better. You can take it at your own pace. Actually, go back and reference because what I'd like to do is have a Bible, have my phone where I can Google what he's talking about as far as other mythologies and things like. Well, we say mythologies, but it seems like these things happen. But yeah, those are. It is some very interesting takes he has when it comes to all this. And this is from 1991.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Like,
He was doing something right, bro.
oh, yeah.
And I don't know if you caught the documentary that they did on him. They recapped the whole story of him kind of fighting for his life when it got to the end of things. It also showed that he was giving information and disclosing information about 9/11 months before it happened.
Oh, yeah.
What I found interesting too, man, is right around the same time when he was basically put down right at the steps of his own house by the local police, which was kind of sketchy as well. But with no medical team called for I
Yeah.
think like an hour and a half or something like that. It was kind of really lengthy. And I'm in the paramedic service, so
Yeah.
I work with police. I'm in the fire service, so I work with cops all the time, dude. And that's not how it works. And it don't matter what timeline you're in. It don't work like that. But shortly after the incident that happened with him, Alex Jones came in the mix. Now I'm not fully against AJ,
Yeah.
but something's a little fishy with the timing and the situation. He snuck into Bohemian Grove and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But he's had good things to say. I think he's had credible things to say. Obviously, it's just
Yeah.
who knows how deep the psyop really goes.
Yeah. I think at one point, Alex was, or Ozempic Jones, they call him now since he lost all that weight. But,
Yeah.
but Jones, I think at one point, I can't even say that now that I'm thinking about it. I'm about 100% convinced he's a fed or a plant or whatever you want to call it. And Bill Cooper was very adamant that he was.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
yes, sir. Bill
Well,
Cooper.
when you look at the family he comes from too, man.
William Ramsey. Pretty sure
Really?
he is not a fan of Alex Jones either. This is what really sells me on it. If you remember, we saw him on trial, right? And for what he said and all those things, and then he was supposed to lose his company. He was supposed to pay all this money, and then all this was going to happen, and then it just didn't.
Right.
Right? Remember? Like
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of people forget, but like he's still going. Nothing's changed. And then he's even got people that I did like Owen Schroyer and people like that, quitting.
Right.
And then, right after that, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this to Jones. At that point in time, I listened to his show all the time. It got to where you cannot listen to his show because it is literally advertisement after advertisement. And it's him talking about the stuff from his markets, the good vitamins and all that. And I don't know anything about the products. I'm not talking smack on the products. I don't know anything about them. I'm just saying it really seems like it was a really good opportunity to have people think that you're in dire straits when you're not, and make a lot of money off the products you sell by endorsing them every 10 minutes. I mean, I'm serious, every 10 minutes. And that's like 3 and
It's
4
pretty
hour
bad.
shows. It's pretty bad.
You're
And
right. You're right.
these are 2 and 3 minute long ads. So you know what I'm talking about. And it just, to me, right after, he's supposed to lose all this and then just didn't, at the same time, his show turned into one big giant advertisement throughout for 3 hours. And it seems to me he's making a killing off of a situation that he wasn't even in.
Right, right, man. And I think there's an interesting slot to think about where his family and the connections his family has, the roots that they hold in Freemasonry and things like that is, to me, mystery school slash secret society involvement. But who knows really how deep that stuff goes? And I think a lot of things can always get buried with time and changing of names and all that kind of stuff. So who knows who he really is affiliated, and where his bloodline actually goes. Because all that stuff is very interesting, man. And I think people are catching on to it. I think people that are starting to use their discernment and put two and two together. Because here's the thing, here's what they do, man. They feed you information that's true, and you're like, this guy's got to be, he's got to be on our on our team here, like,
Yeah.
but then they'll throw little things out, and this is why it gets so um it gets muddied up, man, because they'll throw certain things out there that you won't catch, but your subconscious will grab onto it, and now you're provoked to think this certain way.
Yeah. That is very true, especially with people in positions like that. You got to give them their due. They've made themselves they put themselves in the majority of the public eye. Like there's not too many people in America. You could be like, how do you feel about Alex Jones? And they'd be like, who's Alex Jones? I don't feel like there'd be that many people, but I don't know. It's hard to tell. What the only thing we can do now, Stephen, is I just pray for that discernment. I'm like, God, please reveal to me, you know, your plan, your will, and if none of this lines up with it, then it doesn't bother. It's got nothing to do with me anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah, dude. So I heard you go on. Oh man, I've listened to you on a couple of shows. You so you said in the beginning of the show you get into like ghost stories, you get into paranormal stuff. I've had some experiences with some of that growing up. My mom has seen a lady walk right in front of her and walk right out the front door. And there was a child with the lady. It's just so funny how there's a child with the woman sometimes in these stories. I don't know if it's Ishtar, I don't know if it's Ashtoreth, I don't know if it's Lilith. I think they're all the same. But you were getting into a story, man. I wanted you to share of of a woman, right? One of your friends seen a woman, or
oh yeah, that was Justin.
okay.
Sorry, but they had a cough. So Justin was out in his yard. This is about the time we're looking in the silver mine, but we're doing a lot of work. We're a lot of research. Well, Justin was, I should say that, into Lilith and Pan and the connection there, and whatever you want to call him, Sir Nunos, Pan, the Satyr, whatever. Uh, so he's out in his hot tub, and owls connect to all this too. Lilith and owls. And that's even biblical.
Oh, wow.
They even call her the owl somewhere. I'll have to get Justin to tell me where that's at. But so Justin's out there in his hot tub, and he lives on a ridge line, okay, in these mountains, and he's got 2 neighbors, and you can't even throw a rock and hit their houses. They're pretty good distance away. Those are his 2 neighbors. You can't see each other's yards. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's at night. I can't remember if it was fall or summer. But anyway, he's out there. He's in the hot tub. He's leaned back. He's got very little light pollution, just looking up at all the stars and all that. And he looks over at his building, and that's where the one light is. So he looks over at his building, and just leaned out from the side of the building is this woman in white, like long hair hanging down, just white, like
A white dress?
like a white dress. It's like a silky type dress,
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh, dude.
And he's like, I just close my eyes and pray a minute. He's like, and then I decide I'm not even gonna look back. I'm just gonna get out. He gets out, wraps the towel, and he's like, I'm walking. He's like, but he stupid me. He's like, I look back. He looks back. She's not there, but there's an owl on top of the building.
Wow, dude.
So it was
Well,
crazy.
So, I mean, I don't know if Tim ever shared his stories with you about his interaction with the lady. I call it I say the lady because this is it's been popularized by some people in the Gnostic Christian movement. I don't advocate for those people at all. I think it's a satanic Luciferian religion that they talk about. The religion of the serpent, all the way from the garden. But they say that the lady, and when I started digging my nose in the book, both the Bible and research on trying to figure out what is this lady, because it's there. There's something with the divine feminine. It brought me all the way to Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. Semiramis, but it brought me back even further to Lucifer, to the serpent, the devil, Satan. There is a feminine characteristic of that entity, and there's a duality of that entity. We can see the nature of the tree that was in the garden, good and evil. There's a duality there. And the Baphomet, there's a duality there. The Statue of Liberty, there's a duality there. There's duality everywhere. The checkerboard floor, whatever, it goes on and on. But when I started studying it, and I started peeling back the layers, man, and just I'm on the trail of this entity. Well, I had a dream. It wasn't a dream, dude. It was more like I was pulled into this astral realm, and the lady was there, one on one, dude, with this thing. Came out of the shadows of a room. The room's completely black, but it's like there's just one spotlight at the top of the room, where like the corners of the room are all shadowed up. Almost like an interrogation room where the detective like shines the light in your face, he's like,
yeah.
You're chained to the desk, kind of like that vibe. But I knew that the lady was there, and she came right out of the shadow, man, and wearing white with black hair over her face. Oh, I'm getting chills. And there's this scream that it projected towards me, and as it screamed at me, her hair blasted back, almost like the wind of the scream was like blowing her hair back, but she was projecting these sound waves to me that was just terrifying. And I just started saying, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, like, and this woman rotated around and crab walked upside down to me and was like, tongue was hanging out of her mouth and was trying to attack me and trying to get me, but I think Jesus was putting up a barrier right there, man, and was like, "No, you're not gonna get to him. You can scare him all you want. That's fine. He's tough enough to take it." But, you know, but my wife woke me up out of that state that I was in. That's so funny. Tim just texted me. But, that's kinda crazy,
Yeah.
because I told this story on his show, and and I called him up, by the way, telling him this as we were getting ready to prepare for a Mystery Babylon show, and I was going down this route, and he's like, "Yeah, when I went down the route too, I had a similar experience." So the lady is there present when you are trying to investigate her, if that makes sense, bro.
Yeah. See, when we were looking into this, I had a dream too that still to this day, and the thing about it is I never remember dreams. Very rarely, very rarely do I remember a dream. Um, but this one, I can tell you every detail of it and this was a year and a half, 2 years ago. But I was in this like basement, but it's kind of like stacked rocks were the wall, like they had I don't know if you're familiar. Where are you from?
Florida.
Florida. I doubt you guys have dairies down there. But here in the
Hmm.
mountains, we'll go into a hillside and dig it out. And then you build up, you can do cinder block, whatever. But back in the day, they just used flat creek rock and they stacked them. And then they'd make a roof over that. And what that does is you can put all your canned goods in there winter and summer, and it stays a good 60 degrees in there all the time. So in wintertime, it gets cold, obviously, but you can still, if you go deep enough, your cans and stuff won't freeze, like vegetables, things like that, you got canned. So these walls are made out of like stacked flat creek rock. All I can hear is a baby crying. And I'm going through these hallways. I'm trying to find this baby. But when I come into this room, there's this guy standing at a table and I cannot see what he's doing. The crying's not coming from in there. The crying stops. And he kind of reminds you of Jim Carrey in The Mask when he puts on the mask and except his skin was more grayish than it was green. And his smile came all the way up his jaw. And he'd never turn his head and look at me, but I could see that smile because that's how big it was. Even from the side, I could see his teeth in the smile. And his
Oh.
eyes would just turn. And I would run out, run down these hallways, and then I would come around thinking I'm getting away, but I'd come back into the same room on the other side of him. So I see his other side, and it's the exact same thing. And at this point in time, he's giggling because, I'm trapped. And he just side eyes me. He never turns his face to look at me, and I never can see what it is he's doing. And then I was running, and then the baby crying gets louder. When I woke up, I was screaming.
Oh, man.
So it was
That's
It was a
wild, man.
nutso dream.
Well, it almost, like, reminds me of Slender Man.
Yeah.
That Slender Man smile?
Yes. I
You know what
was
I'm saying?
I was wondering because of the hat he was wearing. I was like, dude, is this who Hatman is? Like out of the shadow form? Like, am I seeing who he actually is or was? But it was, yeah, because he had a hat just like that. It wasn't like Jim Carrey. It was flat on top, kind of not like Doc Holliday or Val Kilmer in Tombstone is what I meant to say. But kind of just the flat on top, wide brim cowboy hat. You know what I'm talking about? It didn't have
Right.
the
Almost like a Zorro.
yeah, almost like a Zorro type. It was just flat on top, and then the wide brim. And the brim came down because that's all he would do. He's holding his head down. And he would just look over at me, but his eyes would that one eye would come over, and they were yellow. So
Oh,
yeah,
jeez, man. My mom had an experience where This is back when I had to be maybe 8 or 9 years old. She was sleeping downstairs on the couch. Obviously, it's a two-story house, and she woke up because the TV turned on, and it was like almost like a poltergeist scene where the TV was just static. It was white noise background, which doesn't happen because those TVs back in the day, if anyone remembers, which they were huge boxes. Now I'm looking at a monitor that's like half a centimeter thin, but um, the TVs back then usually they had a blue screen, like a default screen that said rec at the top or something or in the
Yep.
corner or something like that. Well, it was white noised out, which is like right. But she said it was extremely cold. It was about 60 degrees inside the house because she after this experience, she even went over to the thermostat and looked at the thermostat because she was like, "Why is this so cold?" It was 60 degrees in the house, which is very odd because that's not what we kept the thermostat to. Anyway, she woke up and she was completely paralyzed. She was in this sleep paralysis, but she was awake. Her eyes were open. She could move her head a little bit, but she just couldn't move. And this lady just elegantly walks down the stairs, right? Turns to her, looks right at her, and then turns away from her and walks right through the front door. And in her mind, she's, probably saying all kinds of things I'm not going to say on the show, but but she looks back up at the stairs because then she heard a kid giggle, and there's a kid right there gripping the little dividers inside the staircase railing, just looking at my mom and smiling and laughing. And so she finally was able to get words out of her mouth, and she's like, Stevie, Stevie. That's kind of like my nickname growing up. Um, and she thought it was me. So she was released from this paralysis, which I do think the sleep paralysis is in some sort of way controlled.
Oh yeah.
If you're able to kind of break free from it, either with your own will, or if the whatever spirit is around that is able to put this on you, it can also release it from you as well. So she goes up the stairs, goes into my room to see if it was me, and I'm there sleeping. And then she looked at the kid or she looked at me, and she's like, "That's not what the kid was wearing." So then it really freaked her out. I didn't know what was going on till I woke up the next morning and I went downstairs and she was crying in my dad's arms in the kitchen at 8 o'clock in the morning, telling him, "I want to move. I want to get out of here. I want to get the heck out of here, man." Because these paranormal experiences are something else, and I'm sure the audience has had some experiences. And if you have had any experiences, drop them in the comments, and we can talk about it a little bit. Or if there's anyone that has had experiences with the lady or whatever, this feminine entity that seems to have interactions with not just me, my mom, or other people, but it's so many people, man.
Oh yeah.
Something to it. But what's the owl have to do? What's the owl's connection to this?
It's a direct connection with Lilith, actually. And then
Well, there you go.
do you know Burton Moran, Local Legends podcast? He does a lot of YouTube video, good YouTube channel. Well, we had Burton on the show. He was one of the earliest guests when we first started. But Burton is one of them, and he's I'm pretty sure Burton's Native American in bloodline. He's from up in, it's either South Dakota or North Dakota, but he has seen the a giant owl twice, I'm pretty sure. And one of those was like a really close encounter as he's coming around this curve, and this thing is right by his car. Like, and we're talking like giant owl, carry you off owl, like that kind of thing. Not
Oh,
not
man.
like a great horned owl, you know. He
Yeah,
saw
we're talking
big
like a
owl.
Lord of the Rings bird.
Yeah, we're talking about Lord of the Rings eagles, you know, like huge owl that I've seen twice. Like that's what I don't know, man. Those you got the Black Hills up there, you know, and a lot of Native American lore in the Dakotas. But have you, speaking of something I found out today, have you ever heard of the, it's Malungo family
No, doesn't
in
ring a
the
bell.
Appalachians? Apparently, these folks have been, well, first of all, like a few of them did their DNA test or whatever, and they have ancestry on every continent in the world.
Huh.
They basically apparently lost their rights to vote and everything like that back in the day because they might have blue eyes, but they have African features and Asian features and Native American features and Caucasian features, and they are just a hodgepodge. And the main thing about them is they have a big trait in their family. Not all of them have it, but a large trait in these families are 6 fingers and 6 toes.
Oh my goodness.
And then you think about that bloodline.
Right.
Right. That's everybody. Like, wouldn't that be like Adam and Eve? You think that's what they would look like? Like, they would have a little bit of everybody in them, right? Like, but it's what I imagine God, he said we're made in his image. But then again, I think, because I got in this argument with this woman on X and I stopped because I was like, what am I doing? But one of my buddies, Nick Hinton, he was on there talking and he posted something and she's like, what are you talking about? Sin and flesh, we're made in the image of God. I'm like, sister, your flesh is sin. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, we may be made in the image, but is God a physical being? I think he's talking about our spirit, our heart, or to know him, maybe not physically. We look like him. Maybe we do. Maybe that's what God looks like. There's these people right here in the Appalachians that have a trace of every race in the world in their bloodline.
That's
And
wild, bro.
it was 2 families. So they've just intermingled over time. That could be another lead to 6 fingers and 6 toes. But they were there before all that started too. So
Right.
and then you got those people right over the hill here in Kentucky, the Fugatis, the blue people. Have you ever heard of those guys?
The blue people. No.
Yeah, they got blue skin.
What?
Yeah.
What the heck?
I can't remember why. Let me see here if I can just pull it over if I can show you. But
Now the 6 fingers makes me think of Nephilim.
oh yeah.
Makes me think of the giant tribe, that
Oh yeah.
specifically, I think it's in Samuel, maybe. I don't know. Someone in the audience definitely correct me. Could be butchering that. I need to do better.
Can you see that? Probably not, huh?
Let me pull you up here on the big screen. Stand by. Okay. Yeah, I see that.
They're all blue.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I don't know what's going. Yeah, they can see it a little bit better. But to see the dad's blue, the mom's blue, the little kids are blue.
They're blue. They're
Yeah.
like avatars.
Yeah, but these kids are not blue. It's just it was some kind of
Some sort of trait, maybe a recessive trait or something.
yeah, something going on. But it was yeah, you got the blue people over in Kentucky. You got
Wow.
and now you've got these other. I mean, there's and I'm just finding out about this stuff, and I've lived here my whole life, but I mean, all these different people and crazy shit like the Moon-Eyed people are out of the Appalachians down in North Carolina, and the Moon-Eyed people, that's a crazy story.
What is the
And then-
Moon-Eyed people?
So the Moon-Eyed people are these tribe of Native Americans that apparently had large blue eyes, blonde hair, pale skin, and most of them spoke Dutch. Yeah, but they were
Huh.
native, and then which doesn't make any sense because there's a story. This pastor is going to this Dutch minister, and he's going through the Appalachians here, and he's trying to spread the word. When he comes upon this tribe of people, and he said it was the craziest thing because these guys look like Native Americans. They got him tied up. He thought, this is it. They're going to kill me. He's praying to God to save him. And when they bring their chief forward or whoever, their tribe leader, whoever it is, he's got blue eyes, blonde hair. He's very pale skin. He's very tall. And or very short. He was very short. And he's like, spoke perfect Dutch to the guy. And like basically tell him, go on your way, man. Just
That's
let him
trip,
go.
man.
That's
That's
it's
trip.
crazy. Yeah. So yeah, if you've never heard of the Moon Eye people, that's something that's cool to look into. And all these different people, and these stories are from all around the world. I mean, you got the Lubaka and Lubak over in Siberia that went into the wilderness back in the 30s when the Orthodox Church was under oppression there. And during that revolution, and these guys basically moved 200 miles away from anything out into the Siberian wilderness. And that mom and pop, basically, they did not. She was born in the wilderness in Siberia in the 40s. She's been there ever since and did not make contact with the outside world until 78 when some geologists came through. And then it was so crazy because those geologists actually went back, like they see these farms and all these cabins. So they go back like, what in the world are you guys doing here? And then they brought disease in on them and like 3 or 4 of the kids died. So
Oh,
because they
geez.
had been that isolated.
Wow.
But yeah, and she was talking about, she was raised strict Orthodox. That's why they moved when they did, and I don't know how you feel about Orthodoxy. I'm like, man, it's pretty close, to what the apostles and Jesus were actually teaching. I like a lot of the Orthodox beliefs, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, she was talking about the Antichrist with everything that they didn't know we landed on the moon, nothing. And then
Really?
she's like, I'm getting all these news from these geologists and these people talking about everything that's going on and AI and she's like, I feel like the Antichrist is about to come out. Like this will be the end times. Like, oh my gosh! And this lady's living out in the middle of nowhere, and she like sees it immediately.
And those are the people I think you want to maybe listen to a little bit. Just take their word for it, Yes, but people that are not consumed with media and you know, social media, everything else that on a psychological level it affects us. It really does. And you get someone that's out there and they're not in tune with all that stuff. It's almost like taking someone from 300 years ago, putting them into our world today, and they'll go, "Yeah, that thing in your hand, that phone, that's magic."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're like,
Yeah.
"Wait, what? Tell me more now."
Yeah.
You know?
I need to know about this. But yeah, she still lives out there to this day, and you got to figure God took care of that family for a reason. Like
Yeah.
they were thriving out there, not just surviving. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, what we were kinda talking about, man, it kinda comes down to genetics, and I think the Bible is very specific. It elaborates a lot, and it focuses so much on genetics. Well, there's a seed war, man,
Yes.
that people need to get in tune with a little bit more biblically because it explains a lot throughout the whole entire Bible of why things happen, why God does things the way he does, why some of the judgments are pretty harsh, but there's reason behind it. I even think it helps with your what are they apologetics of how
Yeah.
to when someone comes and asks you, "Hey, well, why did God do this? Why is your God a loving God, but yet he did what he did here in this specific story of the Bible?" Well, it's because there is um, a genetic uh, abomination that has been going on that fallen angels are in control of. And I think that even the aliens and the people that have contact stories or abduction stories, they even have some sort of obsession with either taking seed or taking eggs or taking something that is a part of sexual reproduction, which is genetics at the end of the day. And there's an obsession that these entities have over this, you know?
Well, you look in, and that's another crazy thing to look into is, you know about bovine blood, right?
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Okay,
Yes.
now the bovine blood, cow blood, in other words, being the closest to ours, we can actually use that in some cases.
Hmm.
And then think of all the UFO cattle mutilation, and then think of
Oh
uh,
my gosh.
robots carrying babies for us.
Which I have kind of seen some weird, crazy stuff about
Oh,
that.
they're already doing it. This is how same-sex marriage couples are going to have babies of their own DNA.
Wow.
Now, tell me we're not trying to play God here, and I'm not talking crap about anybody. I love everybody. I don't judge anybody for anything they
Same
do. I
here.
don't judge your lifestyle. I don't exclude you from my life if you are in that lifestyle. It's not for me. My job is to love you like Jesus, right? And that's what we're called to do. So I'm just going to love you. But it's getting nuts. Like, at what point are these are the things I think about as vessels. Like, we can create, yeah, we could take those cells and we can make life. Who makes the soul? Where will it have one? Or will they all be redheads? I don't know. But
Oh man.
oh, that was a shot at gingers. But
Uh,
Justin, my my co-host Justin is a redhead indeed, and we make those jokes. But no, I mean, on a serious note,
uh,
like, we're gonna be creating these. Are we just gonna be creating these vessels? Is that why they're promoting this to these couples? Because then you're just gonna be a bigot, sexist, and homophobic if you're against it, right?
mhm.
It can't be the fact that you're going, listen, I think they're creating a vessel for these Nephilims to inhabit because there's not going to be a soul in that child. Like,
And
it's
dude,
just
these Nephilim spirits, they crave flesh. Um, I think they have it in their capabilities to go into these vessels willingly.
oh,
All it
yeah.
has to do is be created. And I also think this is why God says, um, don't create idols, because these idols can even, I believe, take in these spirits. It was something that these spirits can attach themselves to. We see the movie The Conjuring, right? In which, I don't
Oh, yeah.
advocate for people to go and to watch these horror stories because, oh my gosh, sometimes it's wild. You might have a dream or two a week
Yeah.
later or something that you're like, oh man, why did I do that? They're entertaining, but I think that this is all a part of the plan with Satan and his agenda. I think there's an army that he wants to build, and I think that this contributes to that idea where he's got these offspring spirits that don't want to dwell in these dry places like the Bible says. They don't want to be in this cursed realm, which that's their habitation right now. And that's why they crave to come into vessels, because it's like going on a vacation, man, for these things.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, what better way than to have your bloodline build your vessels for you? They can basically take, is it genomes out of different DNA sequences and just, okay, so I want my kid to be as handsome as Ryan Reynolds but with the body of Dwayne
IVF.
Johnson. Yeah. Dude. And I'm not against IVF. It's helped a lot of
Right.
people. I'm just saying that's crazy to think we could do
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
know? And at what point when they're making these vessels, like, I don't know.
Right. Right.
Who are they going to use? Like, what if that 23andMe, what if that was just to get a large sample, of the different DNA, tracking down bloodlines? Because 23andMe sold out. And now you don't know who has your information, your literal DNA.
Right.
So I
It
never
makes me
did that stuff.
I agree, because who knows who's going to sell that to another corporation. That corporation shares it with another one, and there's no regulations on those things. And if there
Yeah.
are, there's loopholes and everything. There's always a way to get around things, and people don't have to have integrity. Just understand that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people don't have to have ethics, man. We try to construct things and fabricate ethics around everything we do, but there's still evil out there, man. You
Oh, yeah.
can't get around that.
Well, that's my buddy. He sent me this video the other day. I got to finish watching this documentary with this one guy. And forgive me, I can't think of his name either. But he got me all amped up too. He got me pumped. He's like, God's calling for soldiers. And I'm not saying we got to strap up and hit the streets. I'm saying he's calling us to be bold. Like we've got to, the grace of that, what I was talking about earlier is, there's nothing you can do that separates you from the love of God. That's straight from the Bible. That this John, whatever. I can't think of the numbers, but that's right in the book of John. Nothing you can do to separate yourself from the love of God. That's the grace side of it. The truth side of it is you can't continue to live in sin. Just like you said, you willfully sin. And knowingly and willfully, it's better for a man to sin and know not than it is for a
Right.
man to continue sinning and know what he's doing.
No, that's a good point, man. That's a good point, brother.
But yeah,
And that's the world we're I don't think it's hit its climax yet. I don't think it's hit its full potential. Who even knows what that full potential really looks like, man? But seems that the world is heading into an a future where anything you imagine to do can possibly be created, which I tend to fear of, because I think that what dwells in the secular, it dwells in all of our hearts. Our hearts are wicked, right? I think that we are, if you're not in tune, or if you're not, if you don't have the Holy Spirit to where something is, God's helping you and guiding you in your thoughts and your decisions, that the natural path that man takes, it will be wicked at some point. You could do you could do 6, 7 things that are good, but those 3 or 4 things left over, I mean, could be crazy wicked. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that the natural path for man is to abstain to their wicked ways. If they think like the flesh, if they think like the world, and if they think like the one who is the prince of the air here, I think it's just the natural way that man will take with all that, man. And again, things can always sound good on a surface level, but there's always some twisted perspective of it.
it did. And now I'm to the point, I'm sure you are too, when you get into this world and you start looking at all these things. Now, whenever I hear something good like that, I hate to say it, but I'm like, all right, let's figure out what they're doing behind the scenes too, because
Yeah,
it's look what the left hand's doing, not what the right hand's doing.
exactly,
This
man.
seems to be the way they operate.
That's a great point, man. Brother, listen, hey, this was a pretty fun show, man. This was the first time we got together.
Yes.
In the studio and to many more down the road, man. And but we put in some work this episode, and I hope that the audience, I know that the audience enjoyed it. But where can we're gonna get ready to wrap it up, man. If there's anything you want to share with the audience, to tie a bow on anything, if you want to share anything positive, you got however much time you want. But the floor is yours, and then right after that, please just let everyone know where they can support you and your show.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we talk about a lot of crazy things, and it can be like, I'm not black pilled by any means. There's always hope. We have Christ. We win. That's the end game. But the thing about it is, if any of this ever becomes overwhelming for anybody, if you're looking into this stuff, it's okay to take a step back, take a breath, look at other things, that you enjoy looking into as well. Take a break. And if you're out there and you're listening and you ever feel unworthy or like, I do this and I do that, just remember, there are literal battles being fought just for you. Like when you hear there's a spiritual warfare, angels and demons, and they're literally battling just for you, just for me, just for Steven, just for you. Like, how awesome is that? But yeah, dude, we Appalachian Intelligence at gmail.com. If you want to be on the show, if you know the lady, if you've seen the lady, come on over there and tell me about it too. But yeah, we're up on Instagram, Appalachian Intelligence over there. Anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, all those, we're on there. And I'm working on a website, so me and the AI demon Grok, he's helping me that.
Right. No, I get that, man. AI seems to be a part of the content creator world. It's not free yet.
Yeah.
So that's what the ads are for.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely takes. There's a cost with everything, and to be able to give a good product out to listeners and to just do things professionally, it costs money. So with all that, man. But hey, brother, thank you for coming on the show, man. This was a
Yes,
lot of
sir.
fun. So folks, be sure to go ahead and check out Ryan, his show, Appalachian Intelligence. He's on all audio platforms. He's working on a website. And you're on YouTube, right? You're on YouTube?
Yeah, we're on YouTube. I
Okay.
haven't posted any of the new stuff, but I'm going to.
Okay, awesome, man. And he's worked with a lot of people that I've had on the show, and so that there speaks many things. So, but brother, thank you again for coming on the show. Ryan from Appalachian Intelligence. Thanks, brother.
Hey, thank you.
All right, Biblical Hitman debrief. Let's go, everyone. That was a fun show, Ryan. Thank you, man, for coming on and just getting into the awesome different topics we covered. You got a pretty cool platform. You got an awesome show, and I remember listening to you for the first time on Tinfoil Hat, and I'm hoping to get my opportunity to be able to go and have a conversation with Sam one day. But with all that but behind us, we got into a lot of interesting topics, folks. I think the biggest one that we covered was AI robots and the vessels, the Elkatarians, the things that I believe are going to possibly contribute to the housing of these spirits, these Nephilim spirits, these demons. And these demons want to come out into our world. They really want to have they want to be active in society. I think that it gets tiring being the influencer, but you want to actually just be there in the physical world, actually doing work for yourself. I think that's why possession is something that's definitely real. I think that it's something that they crave because they want to be able to act in the flesh again. Imagine you being a Nephilim spirit and imagine being cursed all your days to be in these dry places, to be in this realm where you can't have any satisfaction. There's no more pleasures of the flesh. You can't do things that we're gifted with as humans. And I think that's a big part of their agenda. That's a big part of what it is that they're trying to do with the process of not only the end times and to contribute to um, being here in the world again. It's almost like Alice Bailey was telling this. It's almost like Alice Bailey, the person who pretty much constructed the whole New Age theology, that these ascending masters will return again one day. I don't know if there's a number with those ascending masters. I don't know how many ascending masters there are. It's just the idea that these gods that were once here are going to come back, present themselves, walk amongst us. And what role are they going to play in society when they get here? Are we talking about players in government? Are we talking about players in the occult? Are we talking about players in entertainment, music industry, acting, whatever? Who knows where it is they're going to fit in? I don't think they're necessarily going to announce themselves present when they are here. So these are things to kind of look out for. And who knows? I mean, maybe this kind of is an idea of what Matthew 24 talks about, false Christs and false prophets doing miracles and all these kinds of things. What superpowers are these Nephilim spirits, or just spirits in general, demons, whatever you want to call 'em? What are they going to have the capability of doing? How are they going to deceive mankind into worshiping them again? How are they going to govern civilization as they did once before? You got to understand that Genesis 6, the whole Genesis 6 thing is mind-blowing. It's been a rock that I'm definitely grateful for, that God has shown me, and where I turned that rock over and I looked underneath it and I went, "Oh my goodness. Wow. This explains a lot." It's a tough theology to swallow if it's something that you haven't been used to, taught, or that's something you don't recognize at first, but it plays a big role with the rest of the Bible. It plays a huge role with everything else pertaining to the story and Christ, and just why things happened between certain groups biblically. So we got into that, and we obviously covered the lady. The lady is a big subject. I've told my experience here on this show, and I've told my experience with the lady on other shows. But when I started digging into Mystery Babylon, and I started digging into really trying to figure out what this thing is, where is its origin, and how is this connected to Lucifer? How is this connected to the harlot? How is this connected to Mystery Babylon? There's a female presence when it is characterizing these things that are biblical. So there's meaning behind the feminine nature. And this isn't against anything about women, but this is against what are we dealing with? And how does it affect us as Christians? How does it affect the church? How does it affect God's plan? I don't think anything can overthrow or triumph over God's plan, but God allows these players to have free roam. God allows these players to do certain things. Um, and that's the name of the game. So, but hey, I think we covered a lot of fun stuff this episode. Ryan was, I enjoyed doing the episode with Ryan. Thank you, brother, for coming on. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got connected with you. Shout out to Tim Constantine for doing that. And there's so many other great guests that we have coming on to have these conversations to help elaborate on certain topics. And so we can all grow together, so we can all get the gospel of Christ out there in any way that we can, because he is the only thing that can get us through all of this, through whatever narrative, whatever topic, whatever story it is you want to cover. Jesus Christ is superior to all of that. And what Jesus did coming here for us supersedes everything. it's fun to talk about these things and to discuss the topics and to bring people into the gospel with some of these different avenues. But we have to understand how grateful or how grateful we should be um, to God and what He did for us and laying down His life for us, and to have every sin nailed to the cross, and to uh, bless us with grace. I can't even describe the grace. I can't even fathom, or my mind cannot compute how much grace he really has. We're all sinners and we're in need of a savior. And I can just only encourage those who are questioning that, or having a tough time with maybe understanding how to come to salvation. Give me and shoot out in the give me get contacted with me. Send me an email. I'll do whatever I can to help anyone to try and lead them to the right answers here, because this is what the show really is about. It's about getting the gospel out there. It's about getting the good news. It's about the Great Commission. It's about spreading this information of the truth to others. But hey, guys, this was another jam up episode. I hope you folks had a good time. Please drop comments down below about what it is we got into. I want to hear your thoughts on everything. And hey, listen, if you want to support the show, be sure to go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It's free. Like the show, share it with your friends, and get it out there any way that you can. And I can only appreciate that. To the highest capacity. And listen, I'm not just on the on the video side of things. I'm on the audio. So come on over to Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, or Spotify. And while you're there, if you like the show, make sure you drop a 5-star review. That helps always. And I can always just encourage y'all folks to drop a follow as well. Hit that notification bell, because we're posting episodes like crazy. And I was behind the ball a little bit last week. It was a pretty stressful week. Every week in my life, as of recent, in the past 2 weeks, has been really, really stressful. A lot of things going on, trying to sort out a lot of things with this situation I'm going through outside of podcasting, outside of the fire truck and work. It's things that I got going on in my personal life, and it's getting sorted out. But my goodness, are we still in the fog? So if y'all could just uh, pray for me, pray for my family, pray for the situation, pray for God to get us out of it, because that's He's the only one that's going to get us out of this. And I don't know how, I don't know in what way. I can only pray for God to, provide, and to bless us, and to get us out of what it is we're going through. But again, I don't need to beat that. Um, I don't need to keep talking about that. It stresses me out a little bit. But hey, listen, I love you guys. Thank you for getting through the ad space as well. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the show. And that you folks are the ones that are supporting this show and keeping it going with all the downloads and getting through all of this stuff. I can see how much you folks are really supporting this show, and how much you love what it is we have going on here. And because we're all a big community here, and I'm just very grateful to have each and every one of you a part of this journey with me. But with all that said, much love out there to you guys and girls, and many blessings to you. I hope everyone has a great night. And again, just be blessed, and I'll see you next time.